Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Malfoy couldn't believe his eyes when he saw that Harry and Ron were still at Hogwarts next day, looking tired but perfectly cheerful. Indeed, by next morning, Harry and Ron thought that meeting the three-headed dog had been an excellent adventure, and they were quite keen to have another one. In the meantime, Harry filled Ron in about the package that seemed to have been moved from Gringotts to Hogwarts, and they spent a lot of time wondering what could possibly need such heavy protection. "Or both," said Harry. Hermione was now refusing to speak to Harry and Ron, but she was such a bossy know-it-all that they saw this as an added bonus. Harry was just as interested as everyone else to see what was in this large parcel, and was amazed when the owls soared down and dropped it right in front of him, knocking his bacon on the floor. Harry ripped open the letter first, which was lucky, because it said, "Do not open the parcel at the table." Harry had difficulty hiding his glee as he handed the note to Ron to read. Malfoy seized the package from Harry and felt it. "That's a broomstick," he said, throwing it back to Harry with a mixture of jealousy and spite on his face. Ron grinned at Harry. Yes, that's right," said Professor Flitwick, beaming at Harry. "A Nimbus 2000, sir," said Harry, fighting not to laugh at the look of horror on Malfoy's face. Harry and Ron headed upstairs, smothering their laughter at Malfoy's obvious rage and confusion. "Well, it's true," Harry chortled as they reached the top of the marble staircase. Hermione was stomping up the stairs, looking disapprovingly at the package in Harry's hand. "I thought you weren't speaking to us," said Harry. Harry had a lot of trouble keeping his mind on his lessons that day. "Wow," Ron sighed as the broomstick rolled onto Harry's bedspread. Even Harry, who knew nothing about the different brooms, thought it looked wonderful. As 7 o'clock drew nearer, Harry left the castle and set off towards the Quidditch pitch in the dark. They reminded Harry of the little plastic sticks Muggle children blew bubbles through, except that they were 50 feet high. Too eager to fly again to wait for wood, Harry mounted his broomstick and kicked off from the ground. Harry landed next to him. "The chasers throw the quaffle and put it through the hoops to score," Harry recited. "Never mind," said Harry quickly. "3 chasers, 1 keeper," said Harry, who was determined to remember it all. He handed Harry a small club, a bit like a rounder's bat. He showed Harry 2 identical balls, jet black and slightly smaller than the red quaffle. Harry noticed that they seemed to be straining to escape the straps holding them inside the box. "Stand back," Wood warned Harry. At once, the black ball rose high in the air and then pelted straight at Harry's face. Harry swung at it with the bat to stop it breaking his nose and sent it zigzagging away into the air. It zoomed around their heads and then shot at Wood, who dived on top of it and managed to pin it to the ground. 3 chasers try and score with the quaffle. The keeper guards the goalposts. The beaters keep the bludgers away from their team, Harry reeled off. Have the bludgers ever killed anyone?" Harry asked, hoping he sounded offhand. Harry shook his head. He pulled a bag of ordinary golf balls out of his pocket, and a few minutes later he and Harry were up in the air, Wood throwing the golf balls as hard as he could in every direction for Harry to catch. Harry didn't miss a single one, and Wood was delighted. Perhaps it was because he was now so busy, what with Quidditch practice 3 evenings a week on top of all his homework, but Harry could hardly believe it when he realized that he'd already been at Hogwarts 2 months. Harry's partner was Seamus Finnegan, which was a relief because Neville had been trying to catch his eye. She hadn't spoken to either of them since the day Harry's broomstick had arrived. Harry and Seamus swished and flicked, but the feather they were supposed to be sending skywards just lay on the desktop. Seamus got so impatient that he prodded it with his wand and set fire to it. Harry had to put it out with his hat. "It's no wonder no one can stand her," he said to Harry as they pushed their way into the crowded corridor. Someone knocked into Harry as they hurried past him. Harry caught a glimpse of her face and was startled to see that she was in tears. On their way down to the Great Hall for the Halloween feast, Harry and Ron overheard Parvati Patil telling her friend Lavender that Hermione was crying in the girls' toilet and wanted to be left alone. Harry was just helping himself to a jacket potato when Professor Quirrell came sprinting into the hall, his turban askew and terror on his face. "How could a troll get in?" Harry asked as they climbed the stairs. As they jostled their way through a crowd of confused Hufflepuffs, Harry suddenly grabbed Ron's arm. "Percy," hissed Ron, pulling Harry behind a large stone griffin. "What's he doing?" Harry whispered. "He's heading for the 3rd floor," Harry said, but Ron held up his hand. Harry sniffed, and a foul stench reached his nostrils, a mixture of old socks and the kind of public toilet no one seems to clean. "The key's in the lock," Harry muttered. With one great leap, Harry managed to grab the key, slam the door, and lock it. "It's the girls' toilets," Harry gasped. Wheeling around, they sprinted back to the door and turned the key, fumbling in their panic. Harry pulled the door open. They ran inside. "Confuse it," Harry said desperately to Ron, and seizing a tap, he threw it as hard as he could against the wall. Its mean little eyes saw Harry. The troll didn't even seem to notice the pipe hitting its shoulder, but it heard the yell and paused again, turning its ugly snout towards Ron instead, giving Harry time to run around it. "Come on, run, run!" Harry yelled at Hermione, trying to pull her towards the door, but she couldn't move. She was still flat against the wall, her mouth open with terror. Harry then did something that was both very brave and very stupid. He took a great running jump and managed to fasten his arms around the troll's neck from behind. The troll couldn't feel Harry hanging there, but even a troll will notice if you stick a long bit of wood up its nose, and Harry's wand had still been in his hand when he jumped. It had gone straight up one of the troll's nostrils. Howling with pain, the troll twisted and flailed its club, with Harry clinging on for dear life. Any second, the troll was going to rip him off or catch him a terrible blow with the club. Harry got to his feet. "I don't think so," said Harry. Professor McGonagall was looking at Ron and Harry. Harry had never seen her look so angry. Hopes of winning 50 points for Gryffindor faded quickly from Harry's mind. Harry looked at Ron, who was still standing with his wand in the air. Snape gave Harry a swift, piercing look. Harry looked at the floor. Harry stuck his wand up its nose, and Ron knocked it out with its own club. Harry and Ron tried to look as though the story wasn't news to them. Harry was speechless. Professor McGonagall turned to Harry and Ron. "She might not have needed saving if we hadn't locked the thing in with her," Harry reminded him.